Three simple letters, IVR. What does it mean? Do you do this as a voice talent or actor? And what happened with SAG-AFTRA and the new rates? I've got some really wonderful news for you in this episode of the VOHeroes podcast. For those of you that are familiar with my origin story, one of the big parts of it is that the biggest category of voiceover work that I worked in before I started to expand into audiobooks and other things, games and so on, was IVR. And probably my biggest claim to fame is that I was the voice of America Online's phone support system back when America Online was the bomb. They were getting 4.5 million calls a day in the early 90s and so on. And I ended up recording over 38,000 prompts for them under a rate structure that was very different from the rate structure that I encountered when I became a member of SAG in the early 2000s. Now, what is all this all about? What are all these letters and numbers you're talking about here? Well, IVR stands for Interactive Voice Response. And basically, it's those recorded messages that you hear when you call a phone line that has a recorded message program. So you call the bank, and the bank says, "Thank you for calling Bank of America, blah, blah, blah." Or you call AOL back in the day, and it was like, "Thank you for calling America Online, the world's most popular online service." Man, if I said that once, I said it 38,000 times. Those messages are sometimes voiced by computer-generated voices. So we've been dealing with synthetic voice and AI for decades and have managed to survive. I'll talk about that in another episode. But the rates that people were getting paid, especially union talent, was very different from the rates that I was used to getting paid when I was doing my work for America Online and probably about 150 other companies, very large companies. So interactive voice response is a covered category of work for voice talent who are members of SAG-AFTRA. Up until January of this year, the way they were paid for that work was basically studio time. So however much time you spent in a studio or working at home in your home studio, no matter how many prompts you did, and a prompt is an individual announcement on one of those systems, and it could be combined with other prompts to create full sentences. So, for example, your balance is $5.68. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or so prompts that are combined into one sentence. Each one of those recordings, they were paid for the amount of time that the recording took, but not per prompt. I was being paid over the years by the prompt, and I constantly tried to get the union, once I became a member and found out that's how they were being paid, to switch to a minimum studio time and per prompt. Now, it has taken a long time and changing a lot of minds and a lot of skeptics. But my fellow members on the co-ed committee, including Cara Ortiz and Melissa Exelberth, who I don't think is on the committee, but was involved in the conversations, we all kind of like helped move the needle toward that. And I'm really happy to announce that as of this past January 1st, we have a new rate structure. Now, it's not the same per prompt rate structure that I've been charging for, 30 years or more. 40 years, is it? Almost 40 years. But it's a start. And it's a way to really reward the people that work in this category. It's an easy category to work in because there's not a lot of backstory and character development in saying zero or dollars and, right? You just want to be clear. We talk about this in the VOHeroes classes on IVR and on news and corporate educational. But now there's a minimum studio time of $300 per engagement. So every time somebody wants to use your services, it's $300 plus That includes up to 5 prompts in that studio session. And then for every prompt beyond that, it's $7 per prompt. And some of these prompt bases can be huge. Thousands of prompts. Now, most of them aren't. Most of them are 10, 15, 20, sometimes 1 or 2. But the point is, it's a new day for IVR talent who are members of SAG-AFTRA. And hopefully, everyone will follow suit, because this is the way you should be compensated. Your work is going to be used pretty much in perpetuity, unless it has a limited shelf life. If you're saying through May 31st, our sales rates are blah, 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 that's fine. But if you're saying, welcome to Widgets Incorporated, name goes here, that's going to be used pretty much forever. So you should be paid per prompt on that, and now you are. So again, the new rates for SAG-AFTRA going forward as of the time of this recording, and I'm really happy about this. I mean, I'm like tearing up a little bit because it's been a long time. $300 minimum, plus that includes 5 prompts, plus $7 per prompt beyond the first 5 prompts. And it's really simple. It's right there in the SAG-AFTRA, on the SAG-AFTRA rate sheets on the website. They've got it up already. It's fantastic. I'm really excited about this. And if you haven't worked in IVR, I know it probably sounds really boring, but it's actually kind of cool. I remember when I used to live in DC and I was working and I was the voice of AOL, I was in a deli once and I was talking with my kids. They were like 7 and 10 at the time. And this woman turned around at the table next to me. She goes, "Are you that guy on that America Online phone line? I hate you." Okay, well, good. You got mad at me before you got mad at one of our tech support people, which is fine with me. Anyway, new rates. If you haven't done this category yet, check it out. If you have any questions about this or comments about this, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. And I mean on VOHeroes.com, where the conversation is nice and sane. Questions about IVR, what it's all about, how it's done. We have a whole class on it, part of the VOHeroes curriculum. But I'm really proud of this, and I'm really, really grateful to the other members of the corporate educational committee that I'm on for SAG-AFTRA for moving this forward. And I'm looking forward to everybody making just a little bit more money for their work, which is great. Listen, hit the like button if you like what you're hearing in this episode. You can subscribe to the channel, and you'll get notified if you click the notification bell of new episodes coming up. Share this with another voice talent or actor that might be interested in IVR or working in IVR and not aware of the new rates. Go ahead, just copy the link above and in the address bar and forward it on. I'm David H. Lawrence XVII. I thank you so much for watching and for listening, and I will see you in the next episode of the VOHeroes podcast.